Have you ever felt like your life suddenly cracked under your feet? Like everything familiar, your plans, your relationships, even your own identity, just fell apart. If you're nodding, breathing a little deeper, maybe even blinking back a tear, you're not alone. I've been there. And maybe you're there right now. This book doesn't start with certainty. It starts with collapse. For me, it began on a Tuesday morning. My phone buzzed with another email, another meeting invite, another notification telling me to be somewhere, do something, prove something. And for some reason, one I still can't fully explain, I looked down at my feet. I was barefoot in the kitchen. The floor was cold. But what I felt had nothing to do with temperature. It was emptiness. A disconnection, as if I wasn't fully inside my own life. I stared at my feet for a long time that morning. That moment was the first crack. The kind of crack that comes not from one big thing, but from the tiny, invisible weight of everything you've been carrying for too long. Stress. Expectations. Regret. Loneliness. The feeling that you've been walking a path someone else paved for you. If this resonates with you, take a deep breath. Pause. And no, you're not breaking down, you're breaking open. We're taught to keep moving. To hustle, achieve, optimize, plan 5 steps ahead. But what happens when you don't know where you're going anymore? What if the path you've been walking starts to feel foreign? Maybe you feel like you've hit a wall. Or everything in your life looks fine on the outside, but inside? You're exhausted. You feel stuck in a role, a routine, a version of yourself that no longer fits. Something inside you is whispering, there must be more than this. That's not failure. That's a spiritual alarm clock. Breakdowns often arrive not to destroy us, but to reveal the places we've outgrown. They shake the snow globe of our lives, so we can finally see what's real, what matters, what needs healing. Have you ever felt like the life you're living doesn't belong to you? That's the moment many of us realize, we've been walking someone else's path. Wearing shoes that were never made for our feet. That day in the kitchen, as I stared at my feet, something unexpected happened. I noticed them, not in a superficial way, but in a deeply symbolic way. The curves, the calluses, the quiet fatigue they carried. It felt like I was seeing a map of everything I'd walked through, everything I had endured but never honored. And then a thought came. What if the shape of your foot could tell you something about the shape of your future? We spend so much time chasing clarity in our minds that we forget our body, especially our feet, hold stories too. Stories about movement, about resistance, about direction. Stories about survival. About how we've pushed through pain, ignored our intuition, or stood still when we needed to move. In many spiritual traditions, the foot is sacred. It's the point of contact between your soul and the earth. It's where intention meets action. In reflexology, your entire body is mirrored in your feet. And energetically, the soles of your feet are portals, receiving energy from the ground below and sending signals to the rest of your being. When your feet are tired, it's not just physical. It's spiritual exhaustion too. Have you honored where you've been walking lately? Have you stopped long enough to ask if it's still the path for you? What I learned. And what I want to offer you in this book, is this: when you feel like everything is falling apart, you are not dying. You are waking up. Sometimes the only way to find your true path is to lose your current one. Sometimes your soul needs to collapse what you built from fear, so it can help you rebuild from love. If you're in the middle of a breakdown right now, be gentle with yourself. Let go of the pressure to fix, to figure out, to have it all together. The first step isn't strategy. It's surrender. Your healing starts when you stop running from where you are. So take your shoes off, literally or metaphorically. Stand on the ground. Feel the weight of your body. The breath in your lungs. The truth in your bones. You're here. You're still here. And you're not broken. You're just being invited to walk differently now. This book won't give you a 10-step plan to fix your life. It will ask better questions. It will guide you inward. And it will walk with you through the fog, the fear, the freedom of spiritual transformation. We'll explore what your footprint really means, not just physically, but energetically. We'll talk about inherited pain, unconscious beliefs, and the paths you were handed before you could even choose. We'll also talk about the courage it takes to walk barefoot into the unknown, to trust your soul more than your fear. This is your journey. Your walk home. And it begins right here, in the breakdown. With your bare feet on the ground. The breakdown is not the end, it's the invitation. When everything falls apart, it creates space for something real to begin. Your feet remember where your mind has forgotten. Trust the ground beneath you. Where in your life are you walking a path that no longer feels like yours? If this resonates with you, pause. Place your feet flat on the floor. Close your eyes. And ask, what have my feet been trying to tell me? What if the way you walk through life is carrying old stories you're not even aware of? You know those moments when you react a little too strongly, or shrink yourself without knowing why. Maybe you over-apologize. Maybe you chase love that feels just out of reach. Or maybe you work twice as hard to prove your worth, but still feel like it's never enough. What if those patterns aren't entirely yours? What if you've been walking through life carrying the invisible weight of other people's pain, generations of it? That may sound like a lot to take in, but stay with me. Because when I first heard the phrase, ancestral trauma, something inside me lit up. Or maybe, softened. It was the first time I realized I wasn't just healing myself, I was breaking patterns that were older than my own lifetime. One evening, not long after my breakdown, I found myself barefoot again. This time, in a quiet room at a retreat in the desert. The facilitator asked us to look at our feet, like really look, and draw what we saw. Not just the shape, but the energy. The feeling. The memory. At first, it felt silly. But as I traced the arch of my foot with a pencil, I noticed something strange. The outline felt heavy. My heel, thick with pressure. My arch, tense. And the toes? Curled slightly inward, like they'd been gripping for years. It hit me, my body had been trying to hold something together. And it had been doing it for so long, I forgot it wasn't supposed to feel this way. I thought about my mother. Always on her feet. Always working. Always tired. I thought about her mother, who had to flee her home as a child. Who walked miles through fear and famine. And then I thought, how much of their pain have I inherited in the way I walk? Not just physically, but energetically. Emotionally. Spiritually. Have you ever considered that your struggles might be echoes of someone else's survival? Science now shows that trauma can be passed down biologically. Epigenetics, the study of how behavior and environment can affect the way your genes work, tells us that stress, fear, and emotional pain leave chemical markers that can be inherited. But long before science confirmed it, our ancestors knew. Many indigenous and Eastern traditions speak of lineage healing, the idea that unresolved pain echoes across generations until someone chooses to face it. That someone could be you. You may not know the details. You may not have access to your full family history. But you do have access to your body, and your body remembers what your mind might not. In this way, your footprint becomes more than a mark in the sand. It becomes a sacred record. A living prayer. A way your body carries stories of resilience, struggle, and hope. Let's pause here. Take a moment. Gently lift one of your feet. Notice its shape. Where do you feel tension? Where is it soft? Are you leaning forward, back, or gripping with your toes? Now ask yourself, what might this part of me be holding on to? Whose voice is living in this posture? When I first started asking these questions, it felt strange. But over time, a kind of quiet truth emerged. I began to recognize that certain parts of my posture, my patterns, and even my anxiety were inherited. They weren't signs that I was broken. They were clues, pointing me toward what needed to be healed. And that changed everything. Because once you name a pattern, you can choose a different one. You can walk differently. You can walk free. Let's be honest, healing generational pain is not easy work. It's not glamorous. It's not Instagrammable. But it is sacred. When you choose to stop running from your pain, when you choose to look at the way you move through the world, that's where real healing begins. It's in the moments when you say, "This stops with me. I don't need to keep performing to feel loved. I can rest. I am safe. I am enough." You don't have to fix everything your family didn't heal. But you can change the way it lives in you. You can honor their stories without repeating them. You can walk forward with compassion, not just for yourself, but for those who came before you, and those who will come after. You are the bridge. The turning point. The place where the story shifts. This isn't about blame, it's about awareness. It's about choosing to be curious instead of critical. Choosing to feel instead of numb. Choosing to place your feet gently, intentionally, on ground you may have once feared. If you feel tired, that's okay. If you feel emotional reading this, that's beautiful. That means something is moving. You are not walking alone. All the love your ancestors never received. All the wisdom they carried. It lives in you. It walks with you. And it wants to see you free. So the next time you feel stuck, frozen in an old pattern, remember this. Your footprint carries stories. But your soul gets to choose which ones you continue. And which ones you lay down, gently, with love. Your body holds memories that your mind has forgotten. Healing begins when you become curious about what you've been carrying, and realize you don't have to carry it forever. What stories, beliefs, or emotional burdens might you be carrying that didn't begin with you? Take 5 minutes today. Sit quietly. Place your hands on your feet. Breathe. And just ask, what in me is ready to be released? Have you been ignoring the soul beneath your soul? There's something quietly sacred about the bottom of the foot. It's the part of your body that's always touching the earth, always in contact with the world beneath you, even when you're too busy to notice. But here's the truth, in a culture that encourages disconnection, from our bodies, our breath, and even our emotions, it's easy to forget that our soul has a body, and our body has a soul. This chapter is about remembering that connection. It's about coming home, not just to your path, but to yourself. I remember a season in my life where everything looked fine. My career was steady. My relationship seemed functional. I went to yoga on Sundays and drank green juice like clockwork. But something inside me felt hollow. I couldn't explain it. I was doing all the right things, wasn't I? And yet, I felt like I was floating above my own life, smiling, saying the right words, but not truly in my body. Like I was walking through the world in shoes too tight, too scripted, too sterile for who I really was. Maybe you know the feeling. That soft, invisible ache of disconnection. Where you can't quite point to the problem, but you know you're not fully home inside yourself. Here's what I've come to understand. Disconnection from the body is disconnection from the soul. And healing isn't about transcending the body, it's about returning to it. There's a common belief in some spiritual circles that the body is something to rise above, that enlightenment lives in detachment, in floating outside of pain, desire, emotion. But that's not true healing. That's spiritual bypassing. Your body is not something to escape. It's the most loyal part of your soul's journey. It holds your truth, your trauma, your wisdom. It carries the sacred map of who you are becoming. And your feet? They're the most grounded expression of that. Have you ever stood barefoot in grass, sand, or soil and felt something shift inside you? That moment of calm, of clarity, of "I'm okay." That's not an accident. That's your nervous system remembering something ancient. You are meant to be connected, to earth, to your body, to your breath, to yourself. And it all begins at the bottom. In reflexology, a practice that's been used for centuries across cultures, every area of the foot corresponds to different organs, systems, and emotions in the body. Your toes reflect your head and mind. The arch connects to your spine. The heel grounds your past. Pressure points on your feet can release tension held in your chest, your gut, even your heart. That means your feet are not just walking you through the world. They're carrying your entire internal experience. So when we rush through life in tight shoes, disconnected from our steps, we're not just ignoring discomfort, we're ignoring information. Insight. Communication from our soul through the body. It's like walking through a sacred temple while scrolling your phone. You miss the magic. But when you pause, when you really listen to your body, something softens. Something real begins to speak. Your soul doesn't shout. It whispers through tension. It hums through stillness. It sings when you return to yourself. So, how do we begin? We don't need anything fancy. No long retreats. No perfect rituals. We just need presence. Here are a few simple invitations. Walk barefoot, slowly, even if just around your home. Notice how each step feels. What arises as you move without distraction. Massage your own feet, not as a chore, but as a ceremony. As you touch each part, ask, what are you trying to tell me? Ground yourself physically, stand outside with bare feet. Close your eyes. Breathe. Imagine roots growing down from your soles into the earth. Journal after walking, what thoughts, emotions, or insights came up. What felt heavy? What felt free? These aren't just wellness tips. They're spiritual practices. They are how we bring the soul back into the body, one gentle step at a time. And the more connected you feel to your feet, the more grounded you'll feel in your truth. The way you walk says a lot about how you live. Are you rushing through life, avoiding discomfort, suppressing your intuition? Or are you willing to slow down, feel deeply, and listen to the messages underfoot? There's a moment, usually late at night or early in the morning, when everything is quiet. You step onto the floor and feel its coolness. And in that pause, before the day begins, you remember. You are not lost. You're just being called inward. Your soul is not elsewhere, it's here, beneath the surface, waiting for your attention. Waiting to be felt. Waiting to move with you. You don't have to understand everything to return to yourself. You just have to take the next step, with awareness, with breath, with love. And when you do, the earth meets you. Every time. Your body is not separate from your soul. Healing happens when you bring awareness to the parts of yourself you've been taught to ignore, especially the parts that touch the earth. How often do I truly feel present in my body, especially when I walk, move, or rest? What would it feel like to let my soul lead my steps? Take one slow, barefoot walk this week, even if it's just around your room. With every step, whisper gently to yourself, I am home. When was the last time you walked straight into your pain, instead of around it? It's so easy to avoid discomfort, isn't it? In a world where everything is designed to make us feel good, to help us escape, we're conditioned to look away from pain. We scroll, we shop, we medicate, we distract. But here's a truth that might surprise you, your pain is not your enemy. In fact, it might be the very key to your healing. What if, instead of running away, you stopped and turned to face it? What if, instead of resisting it, you allowed your pain to teach you something? Sounds scary, right? I get it. I've been there. But here's what I've discovered, pain, when met with courage and compassion, has the power to transform us. A few years ago, I found myself in a long stretch of pain I couldn't outrun. It wasn't physical pain, though, looking back, I see how the body reflects what the heart can't speak. It was emotional pain. Grief. Loss. The kind of quiet ache that, over time, settles deep inside, like a weight you're too scared to set down. I tried everything I knew to make it go away. Therapy. Journaling. Meditation. I even took long walks, hoping the rhythm of my feet would help me move through it faster. But nothing worked. I could avoid it for a while, sure. But eventually, it would show up, like a shadow trailing me no matter where I went. And then, one morning, something shifted. I was walking along the beach, barefoot, letting the waves touch my feet, feeling the sand shift beneath me with each step. I had been here countless times before, trying to outrun the heaviness in my heart. But this time, as I stood still, I felt a thought settle within me: what if the only way out of this is through it? What if I stopped running from this pain and allowed it to move through me, instead of around me? This moment marked a significant turning point. I realized that, all along, I had been doing everything I could to avoid the very thing that was going to set me free, my own pain. You see, pain is a teacher. It's a message, an invitation to pay attention to what has been ignored. And the more we resist it, the more it grows. Pain, like an aching muscle, tightens and pulls until we acknowledge it, until we allow it to release. I didn't know how long it would take, but that day, I made a commitment. Instead of running, I was going to sit with my grief. I was going to allow it to speak to me. I was going to walk into it, not as a victim, but as a student. The first step wasn't easy. But with every step, I felt lighter. I felt more free. Slowly, I began to learn how to embrace the discomfort instead of fleeing from it. That's when I realized, the path of least resistance isn't the one we think it is. The path of least resistance isn't avoiding pain. It's walking through it. When you make the decision to walk into your pain, something profound begins to happen. You stop being afraid of it. You stop running away. You stop feeling as if it will swallow you whole. Instead, you start to see pain as a companion. A guide. A necessary part of the journey. When you choose to walk with pain, to stand in it and breathe through it, something unexpected emerges: power. You begin to see that you can handle more than you thought. You begin to see that pain doesn't define you. It refines you. It teaches you compassion. It teaches you resilience. And most importantly, it teaches you to trust yourself, even when everything around you feels uncertain. You realize that walking into pain isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. How do we walk through pain? Slowly. Mindfully. One step at a time. And the beautiful thing is, when you walk through pain, you're never walking alone. Every time you take a step into your discomfort, you are joining millions of people before you who have done the same. You are part of a lineage of courageous souls who didn't back down when life got hard. You are part of something much bigger than yourself. In that way, pain becomes a bridge, not a wall. Next time you feel the urge to run, to avoid, to numb, remember that there is power in pausing. There is strength in sitting with the discomfort. You are not the pain you feel. You are the one who chooses to walk through it, stronger than before. Take a breath. And let yourself step forward. Pain doesn't last forever. But the wisdom you gain from walking through it does. The truth is, you will experience pain in your life. It's inevitable. But what's also inevitable is that you have the capacity to move through it. You have the strength to carry it, to transform it, and to emerge on the other side with more clarity, more compassion, and more power than you had before. But this can only happen if you're willing to face it. You don't have to know how long the journey will take. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be willing to take the first step. What if that first step could be one of courage, instead of fear? What if, for once, you stopped running from the pain and instead, let it lead you to something deeper, something more true? If you feel like you're in the midst of a challenge, a heartbreak, or even a quiet sadness that hasn't yet found its voice, I invite you to stop. Breathe. And take the next step into it. You'll be surprised what lies on the other side. Pain is not the enemy. It's an invitation to heal, grow, and transform. When you choose to walk through pain, you reclaim your power and find the courage to continue. What pain have I been avoiding in my life? How can I begin to walk through it, rather than around it? Today, if only for a few minutes, allow yourself to sit with whatever discomfort you're feeling. Ask it, what are you trying to teach me? Take a deep breath and trust that you are safe to feel. What if you could let go of the things that weigh you down, without fear, without guilt, and without looking back? Have you ever found yourself holding on to something? A thought, a relationship, an old habit, just because you were too afraid to let it go. Even when you know deep down, it no longer serves you. It's something we all face at some point. We hold on to things, not because we need them, but because they are familiar. Sometimes, we even convince ourselves that we're not ready to let go, that we're not strong enough, or that the void left behind would be too unbearable. But here's a secret I've learned: releasing isn't losing. It's making space for something better. Let's talk about the dance of release, and how it's not just about letting go, but about flowing with life. I once met a woman in a meditation circle who was carrying an emotional weight that was so heavy, she could hardly breathe. She had been in a toxic relationship for years, one that drained her spirit and her energy, but she held on to it because it was the only relationship she had ever known. She spoke of love, but her words felt like chains. She had sacrificed pieces of herself to fit into a role she thought was expected of her, the caretaker, the fixer, the one who kept things together. I don't know how to let go, she confessed, her voice trembling. If I do, who will I be? What will I have left? I could feel the depth of her fear. It was something I'd faced myself at various points in my life, the fear that release would mean nothingness. But here's the thing about letting go: it isn't about the absence of something. It's about the presence of something new. And new things can only enter our lives when we create space for them. Letting go often feels like standing on the edge of a cliff. You know the jump is necessary, but the fear of falling keeps you frozen. And in that fear, we hold on to old stories, old pain, and old patterns, even though they no longer serve us. But the truth is, the void isn't empty. It's full of possibility. When we release what no longer aligns with who we are becoming, we make room for new connections, new growth, and new opportunities. The universe doesn't leave us empty-handed, it offers us more, but only if we're brave enough to let go of the familiar. I want you to think about something. Is there anything in your life that feels like it's holding you back? A belief? A habit? A person or a place? What would it feel like to release that weight? Let's explore this idea a little further. Imagine your life as a river. When you're holding on to something that doesn't serve you, maybe it's an old grudge, or a limiting belief, or a toxic attachment, it's like damming the river. The water can't flow freely. It builds up. It gets stuck. But when you release that blockage, the river can flow again. It finds its natural course. It moves through valleys and over rocks, carving new paths. The water doesn't stop, it just flows more freely. This is the power of release. It's not about severing ties or cutting yourself off. It's about allowing life to flow freely through you, without resistance. When we release, we allow ourselves to be in rhythm with the universe, to dance with the flow of life, instead of against it. Now, I know what you're thinking: it's not that easy. It's easier said than done. And I get that. Releasing takes practice. But here's what I've learned. 1. Feel the emotion fully. First, allow yourself to feel whatever you're holding on to. Don't push it away. Don't numb it. Acknowledge it. Sit with it. Cry if you need to. When you allow yourself to feel the weight of what you're holding, it becomes easier to release. 2. Give yourself permission. Sometimes, we hold on to things because we feel we should. But who says you have to carry this burden forever? Give yourself permission to let go. Release the obligation. Release the guilt. You don't owe anyone your suffering. 3. Express gratitude for what served you. When you let go of something, don't view it as a loss. Instead, express gratitude for what it taught you. Every experience, every person, every chapter of your life has played a role in shaping you. Thank them for what they offered, and then make space for what's next. 4. Visualize your future self. One of the most powerful tools for releasing is visualization. Picture yourself in the future, free of the things you're holding on to. What does your life look like when you've let go of the old? What does it feel like to move through life unburdened? 5. Take small steps. Release doesn't happen overnight. Start small. Maybe it's a belief you've been carrying, maybe it's an old email you don't need, maybe it's an old grudge. Start with one thing, and notice how it feels to loosen your grip. Each small step builds momentum. When I finally let go of the relationship I spoke about earlier, the one that had been draining me for years, something shifted within me. It wasn't easy. It was messy. But as I released, I also began to breathe again. And in that space of release, I found myself. I found new passions, new relationships, and a deeper sense of self-worth. The space I made for new things to enter my life became the very space where I rediscovered my purpose. This is the art of releasing. It's not about making a clean break, but about trusting the process of life's flow. I want you to remember this: you don't have to fear what you are letting go of. Releasing is not losing, it is creating. So, ask yourself: what am I holding on to, even though it no longer serves me? What will happen if I let go, even for a moment? If you're scared, that's okay. But I promise you, in that moment of release, you will find freedom. Freedom to move. Freedom to grow. Freedom to flow. Releasing is not an end, it's a beginning. By letting go of what no longer serves you, you create the space for something new, something better, to enter your life. What is one thing I can release today, physically, emotionally, or mentally, that will create space for something new to come into my life? Take a few moments today to sit in stillness. Reflect on one area of your life that is ready to be released. Visualize it gently leaving your life, and in its place, picture a new opportunity, relationship, or belief that aligns with your true self. Have you ever felt like the weight of your past was keeping you from stepping into your future? We all have stories we carry with us. Some are written on the pages of our childhood, others are etched into the fabric of our adult lives. These stories are made up of memories, experiences, and wounds that shape how we see the world and ourselves. But here's the truth: your past doesn't have to dictate your future. Healing the past doesn't mean forgetting it or pretending it never happened. It means shifting how we hold it. It means releasing the emotional charge of old wounds and choosing to view our past as a source of power, rather than limitation. Are you ready to free yourself from the stories that no longer serve you? Let's explore how healing the past can open up a world of possibility. A few years ago, I sat down with a dear friend who had been carrying a heavy story for as long as I had known her. She had grown up in an environment where love was conditional, where approval had to be earned, and where success was always just out of reach. Her story, the one she clung to, was one of scarcity. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve happiness. I have to work harder to be worthy. These beliefs didn't come from her soul. They came from a narrative she had inherited, shaped by the voices of others, voices that were no longer relevant, voices that had no claim over her life anymore. She had been carrying this weight for decades, without realizing it. It affected how she showed up in relationships, how she made decisions, and even how she saw herself in the mirror. When we sat together that day, I could see the pain in her eyes. She was so tired of trying to outrun the past, but at the same time, she was terrified of what might happen if she let go of these old stories. Have you ever felt that way? As if the story you've been telling yourself is the only thing holding you together. The fear that if you stop identifying with that story, you'll lose yourself entirely. I want to tell you something deeply important: you are not your past. You are not your wounds, your mistakes, your disappointments, or your regrets. You are the person who has moved through those experiences. You are the one who has learned, who has grown, and who continues to evolve. The stories we tell ourselves about our past can either confine us or free us. If we continue to cling to a story of victimhood, of pain, or of limitation, we will keep ourselves stuck. But when we begin to see the lessons our past holds, the strength we've gained, the wisdom we've accumulated, we can move forward with purpose and clarity. Healing the past isn't about erasing it. It's about transforming it. It's about shifting the energy we've attached to the stories we've been telling ourselves. Imagine, for a moment, that your life is a book. The chapters are already written, the triumphs, the challenges, the losses, the victories. Now, imagine that you're holding the pen, and you have the power to rewrite the next chapter. What would you choose to write? When we heal the past, we reclaim the pen. We stop letting old wounds define us, and we begin to write a new narrative, one that reflects who we truly are, not who we've been told we are. I remember the day I realized that I could rewrite my own story. I was sitting at my kitchen table, scrolling through old photos from a difficult time in my life. As I looked at those images, I could see the younger version of myself, lost, unsure, overwhelmed. But instead of feeling sad or regretful, something shifted. I saw the courage in those eyes. The determination to keep going, even when everything seemed impossible. And I realized, that person wasn't a failure. That person was brave. That person had done the best she could with the tools she had. In that moment, I stopped seeing my past as a series of mistakes, and instead, I saw it as a collection of lessons. I had survived. I had grown. And with that realization, I began to rewrite my story. One of the most powerful ways to heal the past is by letting go of limiting beliefs. These beliefs are often formed in childhood, or during times of trauma, and they stay with us long after the events that created them. You know the ones I mean: I'm not worthy. I can't trust people. I'm not good enough. These beliefs are the invisible chains that keep us stuck in old patterns. They limit our potential, keeping us from fully stepping into who we are meant to be. To heal the past, we must release these beliefs. This is not easy work, but it is necessary work. It starts with awareness. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself. What beliefs do you still hold on to from your past? Where do they come from? Are they truly yours, or are they stories you inherited from others? Once you identify these limiting beliefs, you can begin the process of letting them go. Acknowledge that they no longer serve you. Recognize that they are not the truth of who you are. And then, with compassion, release them. This is how we heal the past, by forgiving ourselves for holding on to things that no longer serve us and creating space for a new, empowering narrative. Healing the past is about reclaiming your power. It's about taking the experiences that once defined you and using them as fuel for your transformation. Instead of allowing the past to define your present, you can use it as a stepping stone to move forward with clarity and confidence. Remember, the past doesn't have to be a burden. It can be a source of strength if you choose to view it that way. As you heal, you begin to understand that your past was never meant to break you. It was meant to make you stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. The truth is, your past has shaped you, but it does not define you. The future you are creating is in your hands. And the more you heal, the more you step into your full potential. The more you rewrite your story, the more you can embrace the unknown with open arms, knowing that you are the author of your life. You don't have to be stuck in a past that no longer serves you. You have the power to choose your next chapter. Healing the past isn't about forgetting. It's about shifting your perspective. By letting go of limiting beliefs and embracing the lessons of your past, you reclaim your power to shape your future. What story from my past am I still holding on to that no longer serves me? How can I begin to rewrite it? Take a moment today to reflect on a story from your past that has shaped you. How can you change the narrative and step into your true power? Write it down, and begin to release it, one belief at a time. Have you ever held on to a grudge or resentment so tightly that it began to feel like it was eating you from the inside out? Forgiveness is one of the most profound, yet misunderstood practices on the path to healing. We've all heard the phrase, forgive and forget, but the reality is, forgiving isn't about erasing the past or excusing the hurt. It's not about letting someone off the hook for their actions. Forgiveness is about reclaiming your peace, your energy, and your freedom. When we hold on to anger or resentment, we are giving away our power. It's like carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks, each one representing a painful memory or betrayal. And here's the thing, those rocks aren't hurting the person you're angry with, they're only weighing you down. Have you ever felt that burden? That constant heaviness, like something is holding you back. What if the key to letting go of that weight is forgiveness, not for their sake, but for yours? I've worked with so many people on their healing journeys, and one of the most common themes that comes up is the issue of unforgiveness. It's like a silent thief, stealing our peace and keeping us stuck in the past. I'll never forget a conversation I had with a client who had been carrying a deep hurt from her childhood. Her father had abandoned the family when she was just a young girl, and although she had tried to move forward, the anger she felt towards him never truly healed. She was doing everything she could to heal her life. She was meditating, journaling, even seeking therapy. But no matter how much she worked on herself, there was this lingering bitterness that kept her from fully opening her heart. She asked me, how do I move on from this? How do I forgive him for abandoning me? At that moment, I felt her pain deeply. I knew this wasn't just about forgiveness, it was about letting go of the story that had defined her. She was carrying the weight of her father's absence as a wound that had shaped every decision she made. But I also knew that forgiveness wasn't something she could force. It had to come from within, a choice to release the grip that anger had on her. Forgiveness is often seen as something we do for others, but the real truth is, forgiveness is for your own healing. When we forgive, we are no longer a slave to the pain of the past. We are no longer tied to the actions of others. Instead, we are free to move forward with our lives. Think about it, when you hold on to anger, resentment, or hatred, it's like you're tying yourself to the person who hurt you. You're carrying their actions in your heart, over and over, as if they are still in control of your emotions. But when you forgive, you break that chain. You say, I am no longer defined by what was done to me. I choose peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean you condone the hurt, or that you forget what happened. It simply means you release the hold that the past has over you. It means you reclaim your peace, your freedom, and your energy. As much as forgiveness is about letting go of others, it's just as much about forgiving yourself. Many of us are much harder on ourselves than we are on others. We carry guilt, shame, and regret for things we did or didn't do, choices we made in the past that we wish we could take back. But here's the truth, you are human. You made the best decisions you could with the knowledge and awareness you had at the time. Holding on to self-blame only keeps you stuck in the past. It prevents you from fully embracing the present moment and moving forward with clarity. Forgiveness for yourself is an act of self-compassion. It's acknowledging that you are worthy of love and healing, no matter what mistakes you've made. Let me ask you something, what would happen if you let go of the guilt and regret you've been carrying? What if you allowed yourself to forgive yourself, just as you would forgive someone you loved? Forgiveness isn't an instant fix, nor is it a one-time event. It's a process, one that takes time and patience. But it's also a process that has the power to heal wounds you may have carried for years. Here are some steps to help you begin the process of forgiveness. 1. Acknowledge the pain. The first step in forgiveness is acknowledging the pain. Don't try to bypass the hurt. Allow yourself to feel the anger, the sadness, or the betrayal. Recognize that these feelings are real, and they deserve to be heard. 2. release the need for justice. Forgiveness doesn't require that the other person is punished or held accountable in the way you might want. You don't have to see them suffer for their actions. Forgiveness is about letting go of your need for justice and recognizing that your peace is more important than holding on to that anger. 3. Understand the other person's humanity. This can be one of the most difficult parts of forgiveness. But try to see the person who hurt you as human, flawed, just like everyone else. Understanding that they, too, are carrying their own wounds can help you move towards compassion, even if you can't excuse their actions. 4. Forgive in stages. Forgiveness doesn't always happen all at once. It can be a gradual process. You might start with small steps, and then move to bigger ones. Each time you forgive, you release a little more of the burden. Trust that it will come, in time. 5. Choose to let go. Forgiveness is ultimately a choice. It's a conscious decision to no longer let someone else's actions dictate your emotional state. Choose to let go of the pain. Choose to release the grip that anger or resentment has on you. When you choose forgiveness, you are not only healing yourself, you are also freeing your future. Imagine waking up every day without the weight of past hurts dragging you down. Imagine being able to move forward with a heart full of compassion and peace, free from the need for revenge or vindication. Imagine living your life fully, without the chains of old wounds holding you back. This is the power of forgiveness. It's the power to free yourself from the past and step into the fullness of your life. Forgiveness is not a one-time event. It's a journey of healing, compassion, and letting go. The more you practice forgiveness, the more you will experience the freedom that comes with it. And as you walk this path, remember that forgiveness is the greatest gift you can give to yourself. It allows you to let go of the stories and the pain that have kept you stuck and to create a new chapter, filled with possibility and peace. Forgiveness is an act of liberation. By forgiving others and yourself, you release the chains that bind you to the past and open your heart to the present moment. Who do I need to forgive in my life? And how can I begin that process for myself? Take a few moments today to reflect on someone or something you need to forgive. Start with your own heart, and allow yourself to soften towards the pain. If you're ready, offer forgiveness as a gift, to both them and to yourself. Have you ever felt like you were living someone else's life, following a script that wasn't truly yours? You know those moments when something feels off, like you're moving through life, but it's as if you're walking in someone else's shoes? The job you don't really love, the relationships that drain you, the routines that make you feel more like a robot than a human. Ever experienced that? It's as if you're playing a role in a story that isn't yours to tell. This is what happens when we live out of alignment, when we are disconnected from our authentic selves. We all have an inner compass, a deep knowing of who we are, what we value, and what we're meant to do in this world. But too often, we ignore that voice, or we get lost in the noise of society's expectations, family pressures, or the need to fit in. But here's the truth: alignment is the key to true peace, fulfillment, and purpose. When you live aligned with your authentic self, everything shifts. The path becomes clearer, and life begins to feel more like a flowing river than a series of obstacles. Are you ready to discover what it means to live in alignment? To move from the discomfort of disconnection to the freedom of being fully you? Let's dive in. Have you ever found yourself stuck in a routine that doesn't light you up, doing work that feels empty, or staying in relationships that drain you instead of nourish you? For a long time, I did just that. I remember a point in my life when I was working in a high-paying job, living in a beautiful apartment, and checking off all the boxes of success according to the world's standards. I had everything I was supposed to want. But deep down, I felt empty. The days felt long and the nights even longer. I woke up tired, went through the motions, and found little joy in anything. It wasn't that I hated the work or the life I had created, it was just that it didn't feel true. I was living based on what I thought I should do, not based on who I truly was. That disconnect, the gap between who I was pretending to be and who I really was, created a constant sense of tension. And it wore me down. Have you ever felt that tension? That quiet, persistent feeling of being out of sync with yourself? It's like trying to run a marathon in shoes that don't fit. The harder you try, the more it hurts. So, what is alignment really about? At its core, alignment is about connecting with the deepest part of yourself, your true essence. It's about recognizing what lights you up, what brings you joy, and what you truly value. It's also about letting go of the roles and labels that society has placed on you, and embracing the unique gifts that only you possess. When you live in alignment with your authentic self, you stop living for others and start living for yourself. You make decisions based on what feels right for you, not what others expect or demand. You stop people-pleasing, and you start soul-pleasing. But how do you know when you're out of alignment? The signs are subtle but powerful. It's that feeling of unease, restlessness, or the constant, something's missing, sense. It's the nagging voice inside that whispers, this isn't you. This isn't the life you were meant to lead. And yet, we often ignore those signs, don't we? We bury them under the weight of obligations, deadlines, and the need to please others. But here's the thing, those whispers are guiding you back to yourself. They are the breadcrumbs leading you to the life you were always meant to live. Living in alignment is not easy. It requires courage. It means having the bravery to say no to things that drain you, even if it's uncomfortable. It means taking risks, stepping out of your comfort zone, and saying yes to things that excite and scare you at the same time. And often, it means going against the grain of societal norms. You might have to leave behind a career that no longer serves you, end a relationship that isn't aligned with your true values, or take a leap of faith into the unknown. But every time you make a choice from your authentic self, you get closer to living a life that feels like it's your life, a life filled with meaning, fulfillment, and purpose. There's a sacred beauty in living in alignment. It's like finding your rhythm after years of being out of sync. When you are aligned with your truth, the universe starts to work with you. Opportunities flow in, the right people show up, and you begin to attract experiences that reflect your authentic self. It's not always a smooth path, but it's a path that feels right. And that sense of rightness is the most beautiful compass you could ever have. So, how do you begin to live in alignment? The first step is awareness. You need to listen to the whispers of your soul, those quiet nudges that tell you when you're out of sync. The more you tune into your inner voice, the clearer the path becomes. 1. Identify what brings you joy. What makes your heart sing? What activities, people, or experiences make you feel fully alive? When was the last time you did something just because it felt good? Begin by identifying what truly excites you. These are your clues to your authentic self. 2. Let go of what no longer serves you. Take a look at your life. What's no longer in alignment with who you are today? This could be a job, a relationship, a habit, or a belief. It's time to let go of the things that drain your energy and keep you stuck. You can't make room for the life you want if you're still holding on to what no longer serves you. 3. Set boundaries. Living authentically requires strong boundaries. You must protect your energy and your time. Don't be afraid to say no to things that drain you or push you out of alignment. It's not selfish, it's self-care. 4. Take inspired action. Alignment doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for life to happen. It means taking inspired action, following the nudges, the whispers, and the gut feelings that lead you toward the life that's meant for you. Don't wait for the perfect moment, create it. 5. Trust the process. Living in alignment is a journey, not a destination. It requires patience, trust, and a willingness to let go of control. Trust that as you align with your true self, the universe will support you. Have faith that each step, even the small ones, is guiding you to where you need to be. When you live in alignment with your authentic self, the impact is far-reaching. It doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone around you. Think about it. When you are deeply connected to who you truly are, you radiate that energy. People are drawn to your authenticity, and in turn, they begin to feel more empowered to be their true selves too. Living in alignment creates a ripple effect that spreads far beyond your own life. It's a way of being that inspires others to reconnect with their own truth. The path to living in alignment is the path to fulfillment. It's the journey that leads to a life of purpose, peace, and joy. When you align with your true self, every step feels lighter, every breath feels deeper, and every moment feels like a step closer to the life you were meant to live. The more you honor your authentic self, the more you begin to see the world in a new way, one that reflects the beauty, the power, and the grace of who you truly are. Living in alignment is about reconnecting with your true essence. It's the art of letting go of what no longer serves you and stepping into the fullness of who you are meant to be. Where in my life am I out of alignment with my true self? What can I do today to begin living more authentically? Take some time today to reflect on the areas of your life where you feel out of sync. What can you release to create space for more authenticity? Start small and trust the process. Have you ever had a gut feeling, a hunch that you just couldn't ignore, but you brushed it off because it didn't make logical sense? There's a voice inside each of us, guiding us, nudging us, whispering truths that we often ignore. It's not always loud, and it doesn't always make sense in the moment, but it's there, your inner wisdom. And when you begin to trust it, magic happens. If you've ever had a moment where you knew something deep down, yet the world around you seemed to disagree, you've experienced your inner wisdom at work. It might have been a decision you made that others didn't understand, but somehow, it led to exactly where you needed to be. But why don't we trust this inner guidance more often? Why do we ignore the gut feelings, the quiet nudges, and the hunches? Why do we let fear, doubt, and the noise of external voices drown out the wisdom within us? In this chapter, we'll explore how to reconnect with that inner knowing, trust it fully, and allow it to guide us toward the life we were meant to live. It's easy to overlook the power of your intuition. We live in a world that values logic, reason, and external validation. We are taught to seek answers outside of ourselves, to rely on facts and figures, and to make decisions based on what's most practical or acceptable. But here's the truth, the most powerful guidance you will ever receive comes from within. Your inner wisdom is the voice of your soul, the part of you that has always known the truth, even when your mind is filled with doubt. It's that inner knowing that leads you to the right opportunities, the right people, and the right path, even when everything else seems uncertain. Have you ever had an experience where you felt an inner pull, like a quiet whisper that said, "Go this way"? And when you followed it, things fell into place. Or perhaps you ignored it, only to realize later that you wished you had listened. That is your inner wisdom speaking to you. If we're all born with this inner compass, why is it so easy to ignore it? The truth is, fear is one of the biggest reasons we doubt our intuition. We worry about making the wrong decision, about facing judgment from others, or about stepping outside of the comfort zone. Fear convinces us that we need to seek approval from external sources, to follow the crowd, or to do what others expect of us, even when it doesn't feel right deep down. There's also the issue of logical thinking. We live in a society that values reason over emotion, action over reflection. We are taught to analyze, to plan, and to strategize. And while there is a time for this, it's easy to get caught up in overthinking. We start questioning everything, including our own inner voice. But here's the thing, your inner wisdom does not need to make sense to others. It may not always be logical, but it will always be aligned with your highest good. And when you learn to trust it, you'll find that your life begins to flow more easily. Reconnecting with your inner wisdom is not about finding something new, it's about rediscovering what has always been there. It's about quieting the noise, silencing the doubts, and creating space to listen to that subtle voice within you. Here are some ways to tune in and trust your inner guidance. 1. Create quiet space for reflection. Your inner wisdom is often drowned out by the noise of everyday life. If you want to reconnect with it, you need to create space for quiet. This might mean setting aside time each day to meditate, journal, or simply be still. In these moments of quiet, your soul can speak. And when you listen, you will start to hear the guidance that's always been there. 2. Pay attention to your emotions. Emotions are powerful messengers from your inner wisdom. When you feel a sense of joy, excitement, or peace, these are signs that you're aligned with your truth. On the flip side, feelings of anxiety, unease, or discomfort often signal that something isn't right or out of alignment. Learn to notice and honor your emotions as valuable information. They can tell you where you're headed, what you're avoiding, and what you truly desire. 3. Trust your gut. How often do you ignore that gut feeling that something isn't right, or that a decision feels perfect, even if you don't have all the facts? Your gut is a powerful ally. It's connected to your body's wisdom and your intuition. The next time you feel that subtle nudge or a gut instinct, instead of questioning it, try following it. Trust that it's leading you in the right direction, even if the path ahead seems uncertain. 4. Let go of the need for external validation. One of the biggest blocks to trusting your inner wisdom is the need for approval from others. Whether it's your family, friends, or society at large, it's easy to look for validation outside of yourself. But here's the secret. You already have all the validation you need. When you begin to trust yourself, you will no longer need to seek permission from others to live your truth. Trust that your inner wisdom is the most reliable compass you will ever need. 5. Take inspired action. Once you receive guidance from within, it's time to take action. Trusting your inner wisdom isn't just about listening, it's about doing something with that knowledge. Take small steps, guided by your intuition. Even if it's just one tiny action, trust that it's leading you closer to where you need to be. And when you act in alignment with your soul's guidance, you'll find that the universe conspires to support you. When you trust your inner wisdom, everything changes. Life begins to unfold in ways that feel effortless, as if you are walking the path you were always meant to walk. You no longer second-guess yourself. You no longer feel lost or uncertain. You trust that every decision you make is leading you closer to your true self, and that everything that happens, even the challenges, is part of your journey. Trusting your inner wisdom allows you to step into your own power. You stop looking outside of yourself for answers and instead begin to trust that you have everything you need within. Trusting your inner wisdom creates alignment. When you trust yourself, you align with your higher self. The version of you that knows exactly who you are and what you're meant to do. And when you align with your higher self, you begin to experience a sense of peace, fulfillment, and purpose. Life becomes more fluid. You stop struggling, and instead, you begin to flow. You are no longer reacting to life, you are living it, fully and authentically. The more you trust your inner guidance, the more you'll find that the universe responds to you. Synchronicities happen. Opportunities align. You begin to realize that you are supported, not just by yourself, but by the vast energy of the universe that is always working with you. Your inner wisdom is always guiding you. Trust it, and it will lead you to your highest good. What has your intuition been trying to tell you that you've been ignoring? How can you begin to trust that inner voice more fully in your life? Take a moment to pause and reflect. Is there a decision or situation in your life where you can trust your inner guidance more deeply? Trust yourself, and take the first step toward listening. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to step into the life you've always dreamed of? To stop holding back and finally become the person you were meant to be? The truth is, that future you've been dreaming about, the one where you are living your truth, aligned with your soul's purpose, and fully embracing your power, it's not some distant possibility. It's waiting for you to claim it. You've already done the work. You've navigated through the pain, healed your wounds, and rediscovered your authentic self. Now, it's time to step into the life that is rightfully yours. But to do that, you need to take one final, brave step, embodying your truth. This chapter is all about the power of embodiment, the practice of living your truth in every moment, in every decision, and in every aspect of your life. It's time to stop just talking about who you are and start being who you are. And when you do that, you'll find that the life you've been dreaming about is already within reach. Have you ever experienced the difference between knowing something intellectually and actually living it? It's the difference between reading a book about love and feeling it in your heart. It's the difference between understanding your purpose and actually living it out every single day. When you embody your truth, you stop just thinking about the life you want to create. You start living it. Embodiment means being fully present with who you are, without hesitation or self-doubt. It's the process of aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with your deepest truth. It's about being authentic, not just in moments of clarity or inspiration, but in every single action you take. Embodiment is how you bring the energy of your vision into the present moment. It's how you make your dreams real. But how do you embody your truth, especially when the world around you may not fully understand? The key is to start small. You don't have to overhaul your entire life in one moment. It's about making the commitment every single day to show up as your true self. To say, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is what I choose to create. Here's how you can begin stepping into the future you desire. 1. Own your story. Everything you've experienced in life, the highs, the lows, the struggles, and the triumphs, has brought you to this moment. It's your unique journey, and it's filled with wisdom that only you can share. Stop hiding from your story, and start embracing it. Your story is your power. It's what sets you apart and gives you the strength to move forward. When you own your story, you begin to see yourself as a creator of your life, not a victim of your circumstances. 2. Let go of the need for perfection. Perfection is an illusion. The truth is, there's no such thing as a perfect life. There will always be challenges, bumps along the way, and moments of uncertainty. But that's what makes life real and rich. Embodying your truth means accepting that you don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. You don't have to wait for the perfect version of yourself to show up. You are enough, just as you are. 3. Embrace courageous action. The future you desire won't come to you if you stay in your comfort zone. It requires courage to step into the unknown, to take action even when you don't have all the answers. Embodying your truth means being willing to take those courageous steps, no matter how small. Whether it's making that phone call, starting a new project, or having a difficult conversation, when you act from a place of authenticity, you create momentum toward the life you're meant to live. 4. Align your environment with your truth. Your external world reflects your internal world. If you want to step into the future you desire, it's important to surround yourself with people, places, and experiences that support your authenticity. This might mean letting go of relationships that no longer serve you or seeking out environments that nurture your soul. It could also involve creating a space in your home or workspace that aligns with your energy and vision. By aligning your environment with your truth, you create a space where your authentic self can thrive. 5. Practice daily presence. One of the most powerful ways to embody your truth is to simply be present, in the moment, in your body, and in your life. When you are present, you can fully experience the beauty of your journey. Presence allows you to stay grounded in your truth, even when things get challenging. It helps you tune into your inner wisdom and make decisions that are aligned with your highest good. Daily practices like meditation, mindfulness, and gratitude can help you stay present and embody your truth each day. As you begin to embody your truth, something magical happens. The world begins to mirror your inner transformation. Opportunities open up. People start to show up who resonate with your energy. The things that once seemed impossible suddenly feel achievable. When you step into the future with full alignment to your authentic self, you create a life that feels not only successful, but deeply meaningful. You stop waiting for the future to come to you and start creating it with every thought, every action, and every decision. Remember, the future isn't something that happens to you. The future is something that you create, step by step, day by day, choice by choice. And it all begins with you stepping fully into your truth. Many of us are stuck in the past, holding on to old stories, regrets, or fears that keep us from moving forward. But to step into the future, we must first release the past. This doesn't mean forgetting your story, it means integrating your past into the present and using it as fuel for your transformation. Letting go of the past allows you to create space for something new. It's about shifting your focus from what you've been through to what you are creating next. The truth is, the future you've been dreaming of isn't some distant dream, it's available to you now. All you need to do is show up as the person you were meant to be and start living that truth. So, what does the future look like for you? What does your life look like when you step fully into who you are? The answers are waiting inside of you, and with every small step, you are one step closer to manifesting them. Now is the time to step into your future. The world is waiting for you to show up as the person you were always meant to be. The future you desire is created in the present moment. By embodying your truth and living authentically, you create the life you've always dreamed of. What is one small step I can take today to begin embodying my truth more fully? How can I align my actions with my soul's purpose? Take a moment today to reflect on how you can begin to step into your future with authenticity and courage. Trust that with each step, you are creating the life you were always meant to live. This is the end of one chapter, but the beginning of a new one. You've unlocked the wisdom within yourself and are now equipped to step into your authentic life. Trust your journey, embrace your power, and know that the best is yet to come.